Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm gonna show you my Bard healer setup. So I didn't play it much lately, but I did play it when it first came out, and I feel like after the initial overhype from Cryptic for the new upcoming class, a lot of players actually stopped even trying with Bard. I don't see a lot of Bard either DPS or heals around, and I do hope my build can help the few ones that are maybe out there and struggling. If you feel like you're not healing enough, don't worry, because that's the feeling that 99.9% of the Bard have. There might be some god bards out there, but the feeling is that overall the class doesn't it has some major bugs. If they could get fixed, like for example the fact that the Bard heals can still affect companions, so some of the people in trials might not get healed, or some of the songs not working properly. Those could be some good fixes, together with the fact that maybe they should allow like a higher action points generation. That could really help the Bard out and having people have even more fun with it, because the gameplay is fun. It's just not as effective right now. Like if you want to buff at your maximum, you're gonna have to give up on like quite like a lot of heals or like timing. So there could be a few adjustments Cryptic could do to make the Bard more effective, more fun to play, without making it completely outperform the other three healing classes. Having it to be balanced and good to play, because right now it's not in a good position, but I guess we could say the same about the Paladin heal. They can complete any content as solo healers, but they struggle more than a DC or a Warlock, and this cannot be denied. Alright, so starting off, the way I set up my Bard is to be tanky enough to, for example, take 2-man hypo in Tom, in case there is a solo tank. And I just tested it yesterday, and yes, you're able to do that. I'm gonna explain to you later through the stats that I'm running and class features and stuff. And also obviously trying to maximize the heals, so having like really high power, crit save, and outgoing healing. So at the moment, let me start from the potions real quick that I'm running. I'm just gonna be mentioning this, that I don't have a power shirt, so I need to run the crafted potion of power +1 instead of the crafted potion of defense. And not having a power shirt is also the reason why I'm running 2 power kits instead of crit strike. So this setup could be optimized even more. And yeah, the other potions I have are the squash soup, and I'm running squash soup just because the 5% sorbet has only 5% useful stats compared to the squash soup that gives 10. And if you were to use the 10% sorbet, or say for example the summer feast, I mean, go ahead, but they're way more expensive than the squash soup, and you will pretty much end up with the same stats. So it's really up to you. And for the last one, I'm using Steadfast Elixir of Steadfast Devotion for extra 5% awareness and 2k defense. We really don't need the extra crit save from Wildstorm or whatever else the other elixir could give us. So yeah, that's it for potions. So let's get started. I went for Azimar for my race because I really wanted one, and the stats are very neat. So 2% power, outgoing healing, defense, the incoming healing doesn't really matter, and 2% extra hit points to whoever is in your group. In a trial, it only works in your group and not on the other one. Other good options, not in order, are Dragonborn, Wood Elf, and a human. Humans, I think they're underrated, mainly because they also boost Forte and outgoing healing, and not a lot of people know. And I mean, for the outgoing healing, together with like control bonus, control resist, I just mentioned the ones that we care about, and all your defensive stats as well. So they could be a really good option that is often overlooked. And yeah, the Azimar also lets you choose 2 ability scores, whatever you want. So that's also nice. The ability scores I chose were Wisdom for the extra outgoing healing, and I didn't pick Dexterity because I don't need any extra crit save. I didn't pick Charisma because I don't need performance regen. Like, it's really like a small amount of performance regen and crit save coming from that forte, and the recharge speed is just useless, I would say. So I went for Constitution for an extra like 3%, 4%, considering the two you put at the beginning, 4% maximum hit points, which is nice to be able to, you know, to have higher survivability. And so that's the reason why. My stats, you can see I have 87.8% power. This doesn't change. The crit strike is 66.9, but it could go a little higher if I had my rating capped. And obviously it goes higher with the ribcage. And crit save is 79.6%. You will see that my crit save and my outgoing healing go up when I play a song. So let me just play a song real quick. So for example, I played Sheltering Attitude. I'm gonna check my stats. My crit save went up by 10%. My outgoing healing went up by 5% for 10 seconds. The reason it being that you get 5% outgoing healing from Sforzando and 10% from critical tuning whenever you play a song, but it doesn't, like, it must not be in a quick play slot. Okay, and the crit strike just goes higher with the ribcage. The problem with the ribcage is you won't be able to hit it to proc it with your heals over time. Hence why I'm using Arpeggio to get the procs right now. And even with Arpeggio, it's not that easy. So crit strike 79.4% with 5 stacks of ribcage. Now keep in mind that you won't be able to proc the ribcage with your main heal over time, which would be a Rejuvenating Carol. Let's see, even using this encounter to increase Flourish. So I use it and then I cast my healing over time, and you will see that the ribcage just doesn't proc, and it would only get worse on DPS that are running rusted iron boots, so you know, leggings. So it clearly does not proc your ribcage. You can proc your ribcage via Sheltering Attitude, but that only procs when the target goes lower than 50% health. You can proc it via the Aurora Fantasia Finale, or with Arpeggio itself, as I said. So that's it as far as stats go. For the headpiece, Raincatcher, Go Restore Head is not an option because we're already struggling with the ribcage. I don't know why you would do that to yourself and run Go Restore Head. Ribcage here, the crit save is going to be enough anyways. I'm mainly doing it for the 12.5% crit strike. If you don't like it because you don't think it's proccing reliably enough, use a Raindrop Raiment for 5% steady outgoing healing. The arms of the last resistance, 5% power and defense, which is a lot of percentages, and a lot of defense rating as well. The reason why I'm using this is because the tooltip being wrong, they are always up as long as one of your teammates is farther than 30 feet from you. They, not all of them have to be farther than that, only one of them. And in this case, most of the time it's going to be the tank or one of the tanks. Being a healer, you can pretty much pick your positioning throughout the fight, so this is a really easy bonus to keep up. As far as the weapon set go, obviously Mastercraft is the best one. Boots of the Herald, 5% defense to yourself all the time when you're in a group, 1% defense to all your allies, which is also nice, and overall nice stats as well, I would say. The thing is, there's a pair of boots that come from Voss which say when you're closer than 20 or 30 feet to your target, you get 5% defense, but you would lose it during, say, hypo in Tom. You need to take 2-man hypo, which is probably the hardest hit you have to be ready to, and Alistair's not there, so you're not gonna have that extra 5% defense. So I would go with steady stats and just at a slightly lower item level. Okay, so talking about this artifact set before, people start throwing tomatoes at me. This artifact set is 2.2k, 2200 higher in item level than Tiamat, meaning that with 2200 item level more, you will do 3% more heals with this set than Tiamat. But Tiamat gives you 5% outgoing healing, which when you're at like 70% outgoing healing or 75 will only give you like an extra 3.5% heals. So the item level, the higher item level from this set pretty much already evens out the extra heals you would get from Tiamat, which is the only reason why people run Tiamat. I really don't think it's because of the stats that it gives you. The stats are absolute shit. So that's why I went with this one. The Vault of Stars set, I don't like it because most of the time when you're casting your songs and heals over time, everybody is full health, besides the tank maybe. So it would only be useful with like arpeggio during like heat wave or something like that. So I don't know, like I really wouldn't think that that would be worth using. Plus it has pretty bad stats and lower item level. So that's why I went for this set. It's not because of the set bonus. The set bonus is complete shit. Forget about that. It's only for the stats themselves. It gives you 9 constitution. Very high amount of stats. Besides combat advantage, they're all useful, and the artifact is one of the 1k item level artifact as well. For my rings, I'm using the one that gives you outgoing healing and crit strike when you have a shield, which in this case is activated by the bark shield that I'm running. And then you can either use the one that gives you 5% power, 2.5% accuracy all the time, which is the one I prefer because I don't really like bonuses against a single target. Like you would lose this during, say, like the maze or whatever AoE part in Voss, and some of the phases in Zerial. And so I wouldn't run the other one, but they're pretty much about the same utility. So you could either run this or the one that gives 5% power and 2.5% crit save. The shirt, you want to have a power shirt if you want the Bastion slot shirt. I'm running this one as a replacement. And the pants, you want to get the ones from the second mini boss in Hardcore Boss. The best combinations would be defense awareness or awareness crit avoidance, but whatever works. As long as you can get one, it will be good enough, to be honest. Don't be too greedy. If you get one pair of pants, pass on the other ones. For my artifacts, I want 2 journals because they increase all the ability scores by 2. And they give you extra power percentage that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. And they also give extra hit points, so it's not much of a loss to run them instead of, say like high item level artifacts. Jewel of the North for the nice stats, they're all useful. And Demogorgon's Reach is the main one, but make sure that you have a few artifacts available, and you can switch it out for whatever the host asks you to run. So like knives for mitigation. Also like knives stack for mitigation. The debuff doesn't stack when the mitigation does, so you don't really need to have Tiamat really. And yeah, I have a few ones, not that much on this character, but whatever you need to run. And let me show the modifications. For the main hand, it's enhanced arpeggio because that's our like highest AoE heal. And then for the offhand, the first one is pretty much useless. You could use AP gain, I guess. I've just been lazy, to be fair, and it won't make much of a difference. For your offhand, like for your stats rating, you want to use awareness because that's one of the few sources of awareness you can get. Reinforcement kits are all crit strike on the left side if you have a power shirt. Otherwise, just put a few of power to make sure you cap the rating. And all awareness on the right side. My offensive enchantments are Radiance. You could use 3-stat enchantments like Demonics, but as you could see, you don't need any more crit save. So I just went for Radiance instead. You can use Brutals, but the Brutals give you the same amount of stats, so at that point it would be just, juggling stats around and finding a slightly different setup. but you wouldn't gain any stats by using brutals. For the defensive stats, defensive enchantments, my bad, you can pretty much use whatever. I put assassins in there, but they don't make much of a difference, to be honest. Put 4 of them and you will have like an extra 1% awareness. Armor enchantment wise, the only one that barely like does anything for you is the bar shield. But yeah, it's also really nice for the ring that you're wearing. If you don't want to spend too much, because obviously like the bar shield doesn't make a huge difference. You can just get a rank 8 to make sure you have the 5% extra crit strike from the ring, and that's it. For your weapon enchantment, you want something to help the group doing more DPS, such as, so you could use the Dread, Frost, Plague Fire, whatever. Obviously, if you want to be, you know, about personal stats and you want to take nice screenshots, you can use Vorpal, and you can use the personal companion enhancement for crit. And so that way you could cap your crit strike to 90%. That's not ideal in a group, but you know, if you want to take nice screenshots and post them on Facebook, that's, I guess, what you could do. And okay, should be done talking about the equipment. For your overloads, if you want to go defensive, you can put on a Bulwark of Brimstone for extra hit points, and Resiliency of Depths for less physical damage taken. I do believe it works on any kind of damage, but I never tested it, to be fair. If you wanted to go offensive for more heals instead, you could use the Greater Glyph of the White Dragon, and the Devil's Precision that would give you an extra 5% crit strike. And that's it. Moving on to the powers now. So the Atwill Reprise, or Reprise, I'm not sure, to be honest. This one is just to quickly hit the target to proc stuff like, for example, your companion enhancement. I'm using Dull Senses or Armor Break, whatever you're on. And to proc the Dread on the target, for example. And that's it. That's the only reason why I'm keeping it. Also, this Atwill procs Vistani Set if you want to use it. And then I'm using Arpeggio, which normally it's a single target heal, but if paired with Arpeggio Fortissimo, it makes it an AoE heal for 40 feet, which is a lot. The only problem with it is, again, the fact that it can target companions as well. So some of your allies might be left without any heals, which is unfortunate. And it's definitely one of the things a Cryptic want to get fixed. Encounters, Flourish is really nice, increases your heals by 50% for the next encounter or song. So that is pretty neat. And also, as you can see, you will see why playing it. Whenever you play another encounter power or whatever, it reduces the cooldown. You can use it again. It's very nice to have it. And then Serenade, since Bard has performance on R1, they can't tap R1 to mark the target. So Serenade is the Bard's mark, basically. So just treat it as it is. And then we have Delayed Play, which allows you to save a song, but in that case you won't get the extra benefit from the song. So you know how when you play a song your crit save goes up by 10%. Say I use Delayed Play and then I play whatever song, then my crit save is not going up. But whenever I use Delayed Play, it will count as I played it, so you will get the benefit from playing the song. Okay, so with that being said, you can also use, if you don't like Delayed Play because you don't find it handy, which I wouldn't see why, but the first time I ran it, I didn't use Delayed Play, and it's just so handy. I found out about it later. The first time I played my Bard, I was using Bassline, but you can barely get to use that power, and it's only 200 performance. You need to be 10 seconds off like using anything, so it's, yeah, I really don't recommend running it. And for the dailies, we don't have the dailies like the other heaters, so it's kind of like playing around with it. This is, it's not called Sheltering Encore, it's just Encore. It allows you to play the last song that you just played. So it will change according to the song you played last. Let me try with another one, you will see that it changes. So it's whatever song you play last, you play it again as if it was not in a quick play slot. So say for example you play it and then you use your daily, it will count as 2 songs played for the matter of Storyteller, for example. For my daily, so I'm keeping Encore in case I need it, and Inspiration. Sorry, no, why? Okay, no. That's not the one I keep. It's because I rerolled probably. But yeah, so this is the way I keep it. I keep Curtain Call. Curtain Call is really useful because it's extra shield and mitigation if needed. Usually when you're playing in like Tom or ZC, you don't usually play Warding Carol. You usually play Rejuvenating Carol and Sheltering Gratitude. So it's a nice heal and magnitude. I'm gonna show you what a shield looks like. So I'm just gonna apply Sheltering Gratitude to myself. And for example, I could also apply the other one, but I wouldn't make a difference. So I use it, and this is the shield I'm getting. So it's pretty decent. It doesn't go on companions as well, because the song doesn't go on it. So it's nice. And okay, so besides that, moving on, we have the songs. Okay, this is my choices for the songs, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Obviously you can keep them in any order. You want to try to play like the songs that you use the most, you want to keep them out of a quick play slot, so that every time you play them you get a bonus from, you know, like the 5% extra bonus for your allies with Storyteller and whatever. So that's what you should try to do. The ones I have slotted in my quick play slots are Blaze Flamenco, because I barely ever use it. It's only a 2% damage buff and it uses 100 performance, so I don't really like it, to be honest, even though the bard is made to buff. I'd rather use a different song and buff my party by like 5% and not wasting my resources on Blaze Flamenco. It's only 2%, so not really worth it in my opinion. For the other song that I have slotted is Defender's Minuet, which would be basically like, for example, say the DC's Intercession. And whenever you need it, you don't want to go through the process of like doing all the combo of like the buttons to have it. Like you want to have it as quick as possible when you need it. So that's why I keep it in a quick play slot. For my pinned ones, I pinned it from the most to the least useful, at least in my opinion. So I have Rejuvenating Carol in the first slot, then Sheltering Gratitude on the second, Aurora Fantasy on the third one, and Warding Carol on the fourth. You really need to use Warding Carol only if like there's some kind of poison going on, like in second mini boss of hardcore boss or whatever. That's only when it'd be useful. Class features, I'm running Sforzando and Arpeggio Fortissimo. This is needed for your Arpeggio to be AoE and be able to heal like throughout Heatwave or whatever if you don't have any other, you know, heals going on. So it's really nice. The single target on Arpeggio, you don't really need it because it just takes you like a Defender's Minuet to heal your tank or whatever. So you don't need a single target Arpeggio. The other class features, Songword is the one I use to be able to survive hypo with a tank. So you just put it on, and whenever you're taking hypo, the hypo's gonna hit, you just press R1 to go in performance mode, and you have an extra pool of 20% hit points, let's say. So that's really nice. And it will allow you to survive most stuff. The control immunity didn't really come in hand so far, but you know, we'll never know. I guess it might be useful somewhere. And that's it. A few other ones are nice, but yeah, I wouldn't really use them. Even the Starstruck is really low heal, so that's why I don't use it. Mystifying Strikes sounds like really good, but it's 5% chance to apply it, and the magnitude of the heal is decent, to be fair, but like it takes forever to proc, and then it needs to be on a player that actually needs a heal. So I don't know if it's that useful, to be honest. I wouldn't use it. So I would use Sforzando and Arpeggio Fortissimo, and then you just switch Sforzando to Songword whenever you need to take the hypo with a tank or whatever big hit. Feats, diminuendo, because you don't ever channel arpeggio so long that you would need crescendo. The second one, I don't even know why Art of War is here. They need to change this feed. It's fucking awful. And so I went for Rhapsody Arms. The third one, Sudden Muse would be okay if you at least get the pop-ups on your screen, but it's not that much of a difference anyways. So I went for Vamp, so it gives you a 1 out of 5 chance to, you just use your song in a quick play slot, not in a quick play, in the delayed play slot, and it does not go away, so you can use it again right away, and that will allow you to save some performance, which, trust me, you're gonna need. And for the fourth one, I'm on Pianissimo to reduce the performance cost of my songs. The cost of the reprised carols is also reduced, I believe, even though they don't, their main purpose is not to heal, so that's nice. It reduces the cost even of some of the healing songs that are not mentioned. And the other one, Desperate Finale, it's nice because it's kind of a lifesaver, but at the same time, sometimes it doesn't proc. I know it has a cooldown, but sometimes it doesn't proc for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Plus, it's a 6 minutes cooldown, so it's a lot. By the time it's over, the trial will be over, so no, definitely not. And Pianissimo helps a bit because it reduces the divinity cost by the performance cost by 33 to 25%, and reduces the effectiveness of the song itself by 20%. So overall, it's worth using, in my opinion. And for the last one, Storyteller, obviously, if you want to try and take the most advantage of this, you can refresh the effect on the DPS, okay? So if they have 3 stacks and you use one song every, say, 14 seconds, the effect will stay up at 3 stacks, which is really nice. But also, my suggestion would be to try and play a song every 9-10 seconds. The performance will be hard to use sustain with this, but it would be maximizing your buffs on the DPS. If you're solo healing, you might need more performance to heal, so don't focus on buffing. But if you're healing with another healer, then you can definitely focus on trying to keep up the 3 stacks of Storyteller, which is probably the main reason why I even run Bard, for the buffs. And that's all you gotta do, really. And even though I don't think Blaze Flamenco would be worth it because it's 2%. But you can run it. If you're winning another healer, you're probably gonna have enough performance to use Blaze Flamenco as well. Just make sure you can balance out, not to run out of divinity. And yeah, good luck with that. I think that's it. For your gameplay, you want to keep up Rejuvenating Carol as a heal over time. It says the magnitude is 80, but it should be 160 actually. I don't think they changed the tooltip, but the magnitude should be 160, because obviously it wouldn't be worth it otherwise if Rejuvenating Carol was reduced to 100 and the magnitude was more than halfway down. So yeah, and that's it. Sheltering Gut, you'd keep it up just so you can get a free heal whenever the allies drop under 50% health. The Aurora Fantasia, you don't really use it to heal. At least that's not the way I'm using it. I'm not only using it for the finale, which is 400 magnitude. It's a nice burst heal, if you will. And for any other extra heal that I would need, I just use Arpeggio because it's a nice AoE heal that can actually heal for some good numbers. And moving on to the boons, we have all the offensive boons, obviously, for power, and then crit strike, crit save. The one in crit save you don't really need, but And then I went for defense, awareness, and I guess you could move the crit save ones from here into crit avoidance. I don't have all the boons on my bard, otherwise I would put more into hit points. You could have all the hit points boons easily. Tier 5 is Forte and outgoing healing. The other ones are not as useful, even though the action points gain of the bard is terrible because they don't gain action points while in performance mode. And then you get blessed advantage for your last feature, for your last boon. Even though I don't have the third one because I don't have enough points, but it's nice it's a nice boost for the DPS at times. And Guild Stronghold power, I'm just gonna show you what I set up with, but you know, you can change it if needed according to your setup. Movement speed, if you're not comfortable with mechanics, go on Revive Sickness. Companions, these are the 3 best in slot pieces, I feel like, because awareness is the best defensive stats you can have, crit strike is the best offensive stats you can get out of companion bonuses, out of companion gear, sorry. So definitely you want to get 3 of these. I think they dropped from Surrender Bounties Part 2, but it could also be Part 1, I can't remember. It's definitely not Part 3, definitely not. And my runestones go the same way, crit strike and awareness. Dull Senses is just to help the group. Your summoned companion should be Spine Devil, Tutor, Lion, or Dritz to help the group. If you're not comfortable with your heals, you can run a dedicated squire, but that's gonna take away from the group overall DPS. Companion bonuses are the usual ones for healers: Quickling, Bullet Pop. If you don't have the Bullet Pop, you can play the Neverwinter Guard that gives you 3.8% outgoing healing and 3.8% awareness. And then you have Decro, Fawn, or Ghost as well, and Compy. If you're using Sorbet, you can switch one of those out for like another 3.8% power and crit, like the Ghost, instead of, say, the Decro. And this is it. For my mounts, obviously your combat power, whatever the host wants you to run, and Runic Aura, because all the healers must have Runic Aura slotted. It's really nice for the DPS to be able to set up, build, considering the 2.2k power from Runic Aura. These are my insignias. I build my sets around them, so it's whatever works for you. You can just copy it or make your own. And Magistrate Patience gives you crit avoidance and teammates to your allies with a 50% pretty much uptime, which is a good buff. Not reliable, but there's nothing else you pick really. 3 Gladiator's Guile to be able to move decently fast, and Shepherd's Devotion so that when you use your daily, you also buff your allies with some extra defense. So that was it for the Bard. As I said, feel free to criticize any part of the build. I didn't play it as much lately, so there might be some major bugs that I'm not aware of, even though there are already like an insane amount. So yeah, and stay updated in the comments. I will leave like an update if I discover anything that could help or not your build. This is it for now. So I hope you guys appreciated it and have fun with your bards. Hopefully they will get fixed soon. And laters. See you guys.